Studio. We're pleased to welcome now Lance Tolbert, host of the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Company High School Football Scoreboard Show and producer of the Gallo Show. Lance, thanks for coming in. High school football, once again, it's a big night.
It is. It's always a big night, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful night. That makes such a great difference in getting everybody out. A little bit of drama has transpired over the last week. We had a little bit of a kerfuffle down in Macomb, so their game against South Pike will be played at 2 o'clock today without fans. Starkville head coach has been suspended for an altercation that occurred last week as the Starkville played Louisville, and that was a 42-41 game. Starkville got beat, and there was a little mess there, and so the head coach for Starkville will be riding the pine this week as they play the Little Egg Bowl. So that's a little bit of drama to get out of the way. Some even better drama that happened last Friday night, and it's kind of a remarkable feat. St. Stanislaus Rockashaw kicker Evan Knoll breaks state record with relative ease, as Caleb Sailors puts that, with a 61-yarder with room to spare.
That's incredible.
Man, that's a boot. Now, they didn't win the game, but that is mind-blowing, 61-yarder in high school, and that means he's got the record now. So there are a lot of games, obviously, to cover, but I also wanted to tell you about a guy that had an amazing game last week. Player of the week, Caleb Taylor, running back for Grenada. And listen to this stat line, Gerard. 42 carries, 304 yards, 7 touchdowns, and the Chargers' 55-22 win over Clinton. Now, Clinton, a week before, got into a shootout with Brandon.
Yeah.
That ball game was 65-62. I didn't even want to read it on air because I thought there was a typo between two great teams, but both of them didn't play much defense.
I got a question for you. Were there any punts?
I don't think that anybody even got to a punting down. I mean, it was remarkable.
I mean, because they still play 12-minute quarters, right?
Yeah. I mean,
this isn't a college 15-minute quarter.
They weren't running clock on that because the game was so tight. But, yeah, 65-62. Then, you have a game like that where a young man – has 7 touchdowns and a 55-22 win over Clinton. Clinton scored 65 the week before. So Grenada's legit. That's what I want to tell you in that regard. And Mr. Taylor, Mr. McCaleb Taylor, man, I can't wait to read the stat line tonight whenever he comes on. He has been remarkable. And honestly, I haven't seen a kid this year with the juice he's got. Now, there's some great players out there. Deuce Knight.
Yep.
And we got Deere over at Quitman and quite a few big names out there. But this kid, he just keeps showing out. I mean, it's just remarkable. Love seeing that, too. Some big games tonight. Houston, from the Tennessee Houston, will be taking on Tupelo. Tupelo's number 4, having a good season as they usually have a great out-of-the-gate season. And as you get toward the playoffs, I don't know if it's just the level of competition or if you're getting into where you haven't played as many of the big teams. But Tupelo's really had a tough schedule this year, too. 4-0, taking on basically anybody and everybody. So looking for the Wave to do some good things, and tonight is a big game for them. Brandon and Gulfport, and I want to showcase that. Brandon's been a power. They got into that shootout with Clinton, 65-62, a little while back. But Brandon is 3-1. They're probably considered the team to beat in public school football. That does not mean that they're going to go through this thing without competition. Gulfport, a team that has really surged of late. You've had teams like Picayune and Ocean Springs that have really dominated the coast. Well, this year, Gulfport is really making a name for themselves, 3-1. Brandon will travel to Gulfport. So that will be a game there. Now, Sullender, he was down there a few weeks ago, and instead of driving back on a Friday night, he got him an Airbnb and hung out. And I'm like, man, that's the way you do it. And we usually catch Bob right before he hits the drive-through at about 10:05. So I'm curious with Bob tonight. I don't think he's got too far to go.
Gotcha.
So we'll see how that rolls. Now, Ocean Springs and Picayune will play, and I want to highlight that one because two teams that have been powers. Both have had kind of mediocre starts. Picayune 2-2. And Ocean Springs 1-3. So that game there between a 6 and 7A team, Coastal ready. That's another big one. Oak Grove 2-2, again, a team that won the state championship last year. MRA goes in and beats them, a private school, and it was handily beaten. They took a little bit of revenge down there because Oak Grove had beat them a year ago by 1. So Oak Grove and Laurel will top. Laurel's 0-4. They're better than that record shows. So Oak Grove, former 7A state champ, will take on an 0-4 Laurel team who's way better than that. So Hartfield on the private school side, they're off tonight. And I think most teams are thankful for that because they've been averaging about 60 points, not giving up a lot. I'll say this, and it's my opinion, and I would love to see MRA, Prep, and Hartfield in the public school ranks playing. Now, PCS is taking on that challenge next year. Proud of them for doing that. Now, I don't know what classification they're going to fall in, maybe 3A, maybe 4A. But between MRA, Prep, and Hartfield right now, I don't want to leave JA out. They just haven't accomplished quite as much as these three teams have over the last few years. But Hartfield looks to me, pound for pound, talent, everything. I'm almost saying they're probably the team to beat in the state this year.
Really?
West Jones is another team that their classification down, but they're very difficult to handle on the public school side. MRA only takes on Giants, and they usually beat them. Coach Davis does an amazing job there. And Coach Godwin over at Prep, sometimes a little bit unsung right now behind Hartfield and MRA. They're not getting the headlines, but, man, they are extremely talented. So that kind of gives you a layout of what I think a little bit on the private school side. Now, Presbyterian Christian, don't sleep on those guys. They've got Simpson tonight. Now, Simpson's a team that'll play about anybody. PCS, their travel budget's got to be the biggest in the state. I mean, they're in Hattiesburg, and they have to come up here generally to play all their games. So that'll help them next year moving into the public school rank. But they're taking on Simpson, and they travel to Simpson. A little bit of a, tough place to play. So I'm anxious to see how Presbyterian Christian, which they travel, all the time. So they're really good on the road, and should be a good game tonight. And then the Battle of the St. Josephs. You got St. Joseph Catholic and St. Joseph playing. So 3-1 St. Joe's, and then St. Joseph Catholic 1-2. And Prep's going to have Evangelical Christian. Prep's 5-0. Like I said, kind of under the radar a little bit. But Evangelical Christian is 3-1, so ought to be a great game. They have to travel to do that. And again, on the other side, Heritage Academy, one step down, 5A, private school. They're having a heck of a season, 5-1 right now. They got Lamar, who's 2-3. So, as you see, there's always these big games and big battles that you get into. Some of the smaller schools out there that'll be playing tonight in the 1A world, a lot of these guys play up a little bit early in the season. Simmons is 3-0, kind of the number one team to beat in 1A. They'll have Coahoma County tonight. And you also have Velma Jackson, team that was unbelievable last year. Got beat by Canton earlier in the season, but they're going to have League Central tonight, who's 1-3. Velma's 2-1, and that's a game that I would really keep my eyes on as far as a very good team, and we'll see what Velma has as they continue through the season. So I'm going to give you a layout of where we are, and a big game tonight in the, I guess you could call it 2A, but Cleveland Central 4-0 versus Charleston, who's number 2 in the 2A world, and they're 3-1. So a little breakdown there. And,
well, are some more of these private schools seriously thinking about?
That's a great question. Caleb and I talk about that, and anytime we have an opportunity to visit with some of the MAIS coaches, they're not against it. I will tell you, they're kind of bring it on mentality. Now, on the public school side, they're not quite as hey, bring it up, because there is other dynamics at play there. Yeah. But these public school guys, they sometimes don't want much part of some of these upper crust private schools, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's a tough road to hoe when you're going up against a team like MRA. It really is. I mean, they're just so talented, so well coached. And, they've just won at a high level. And these, as you've seen, Hartfield, MRA, Prep, Jay, they've grown so much in the last 20 years. Well,
the big difference, of course, is a public school is limited to the talent that is attached to their district, right, that they serve, the addresses within their service
kind of like community
area.
College, a little bit, yeah.
Right, but a private school isn't.
Nope, they aren't. And, they've done a remarkable job investing in facilities, investing in the bricks and the mortar, the school and the types of programs they offer. You go into some of these private schools, it's really, at the end of the day, you're seeing some amazing things, 3D printers and all kinds. So I understand the drive for students to go there and also have a great experience.
I'm not sure MAIS survives if a couple of the big ones peel off.
Well, and 6A is a small fraternity there. There's only really 6 teams. As one leaves, you'll have 5. What are you going to do? 5. They'll all be right here in Jackson. So, I think we're going to see some changes in the future. I'm anxious to see, because I think we got another year of these classifications this season. But at the end of it, we'll learn a lot more.
Interesting. Lance, thanks for coming in.
Oh,
Great rundown.
Thank you, sir.
Folks, we're coming right back in the Element Wealth studio.